That's not working, is it? Disaster! This is crazy. Don't put a hole in it, don't put a hole in it. This is so... Oh, hello. Look at these huge baps. Could put a whole cow in them. Or not, so that's exciting, isn't it? Something to wait for. It's a weird thing, isn't it? Hello, do you have a cheese connection? Yes. Incredible Big Mac. Homemade style. I'm very proud of that. Hello my darlings and welcome to another video from, ta-da, the Berkshire Housewife. These incredible aprons were made by the incredible Rachel at Sass and Rebellion. So I will put a link if you want to get a Berkshire Housewife apron, you can. Woohoo! And I should be wearing them now for my videos. So let's give it a little personal touch. I'm wearing the gloves of sexiness because I'm going to be using them for meat in a bit. So I've got them on now so I could just get straight to it, because otherwise you'd have to watch like about half an hour be flailing about trying to get my fingers through, because they're really quite difficult. But anyway, let's get on with it. So what I'm going to show you is an incredible McDonald's Big Mac fake away. I really hope they're not going to get upset about that, because obviously this is not an actual McDonald's burger. I have to be very clear. This is in no way endorsed or affiliated with or has anything to do with McDonald's. The only reason why I mention it is because it is just exactly like my very favourite burgers from that particular company. I'm currently making this video in lockdown. Unfortunately, McDonald's does not deliver to us, even though they're doing deliveries, and I'm having to do some shielding, so I wasn't allowed out. So it's been very difficult, and sometimes I've really wanted to have that little treat of a Big Mac, but obviously can't really get out the house, and I've got my shopping and stuff coming. But basically, it's been a logistical nightmare to get at McDonald's. So I have gone through so many different recipes that are online and tried to find the best one. Now, I just want to tell you my credentials for this. This is the same thing that I order. I've always ordered every time I've ever been there. I've tried some of the other things, always go back to Big Mac. So I really know what this is supposed to taste like, and I've tried lots of recipes on the internet, and they've all missed a little something along the way. They've been American recipes for a start, so there may be slight differences, as American ingredients for McDonald's are totally different to English ones. Ours are much more pure. We don't have as many additives and flavourings. So what I have done is I have managed to backward engineer the McDonald's special sauce for the UK palate. So this is the UK version of special sauce with UK measurements. So without further ado, now I've given you an intro on the credence and the provenance of my expertise. I shall get on with it. First I'm going to have to do is the sauce. Now, I need to tell you that this video is going to be a little bit unusual. I'm going to put a big header in the description just to warn you about this. The sauce is supposed to be made the day before, so it gets enough time to bed in and become what it's supposed to be. When I made it yesterday, I thought it was perfect to put on there and then. But I'm going to let this rest for 24 hours, and I will give you my verdict of before and after at the end of the video, and I will tell you which one I think it works, whether it makes any difference waiting 24 hours or any difference just eating it from when it's freshly made. Either way, you're going to find out within a few minutes, so you don't have to wait as ages as I do, which was, I had to do sauce yesterday. So I have one I made earlier, Blue Peter style, but I'm going to run through the recipe with you now because it's so simple. So, bowl, first thing, and you literally just mix the ingredients. There's no fancy, making lots of noise, there's no fancy techniques, things to do. It's just a ton of mayo, just bog standard mayonnaise going in there. Now, if you're really going to be particular about this exact flavour that I've done, and I'm autistic, so I'm pretty particular about things, I will tell you the brands I've used in the description. If you want to get this exactly the flavour profile I have. Now bear in mind, this is French salad dressing, so French dressing for salads. And like I said, there are different types of French dressings on the market. They will have different levels of vinegariness, creaminess, whatever. So when you make this, if you use slightly different ingredients, like if you use a different type of mayonnaise or a different French dressing or a different relish, it will have a slightly different flavour profile. If you use the brands that I've got written down, you're going to get exactly what I've got. So just to let you know that you have that flexibility. But again, you know, as I said, I'm a bit of a purist when it comes to these things because I love Big Macs. I just absolutely adore them. And that's the relish just going in there. This is the little tiny bit of ketchup. I absolutely adore them. The ketchup gives it that little pink colouring that you find for the special sauce. This is really weird, but it does need it. This is dill pickle juice, or this is just, I get cornichons for cocktails and stuff, and this is just the juice from it, the cornichon juice. So it's kind of gherkiny and vinegary, but not as harsh, but it is necessary. So the amounts I put in the ingredients, and again, this is the tiniest amount you'll ever know. It is 1/4 teaspoon of white vinegar, white malt vinegar. Now, that may seem ridiculous, but do you ever see when you see these cartoons and they kind of have these mad professors that do experiments and then they just want one little pipette drip into the whole potion and it suddenly explodes and then it becomes whatever it's supposed to be, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde or wherever it is. That is the same with this. That 1/4 of white malt vinegar is just really important. And I know it's crazy, but it is. This is just onion granules. What do they call it? Yeah, onion granules, I think that's it. And caster sugar. And I'm just going to give this a bit of a mix up because there's a lot of stuff in here now. And I do have one more ingredient to add. But just to let you know that normally I'm always like, make this your own, do your own thing. You know, tell me how you changed it. But because I'm actually making a very specific sauce, a very specific flavour, I don't really think there are many places you can go with this. It's kind of like, once you've made it, then that's it. So you have to be fairly specific. I mean, you know, the thing is, if you make it and you're like, oh, I haven't got the vinegar, I've got 1/4 teaspoon of vinegar, I'm sure you'll still like it, but it's just going to be a little bit more creamier than you remember, I think, personally. But yesterday, I was like, what is it? I can't figure out what it is. And I was trying to put this together for you so I could make sure I had the right amounts in there and had the right flavour. And it was my wonderful assistant Simon who reminded me that I bought white vinegar just to put as all my little potions to put out to try and find the right ingredients to make the special sauce, or as I said, backward engineering it. And I thought, well, I haven't tried that yet. But I was very, very careful because you can add, if you add too much, that's it, it's ruined. You've got to start again. I really don't want to have to do it because there's so many little things to add in. So I thought, well, I'll go really, really low first and put just 1/4 teaspoon. And my goodness, that was it. That's all it needed. No more. So, and make sure you mix that up thoroughly because that 1/4 teaspoon, I didn't mix it in very well at first and I tasted it. I was like, oh, that's nice. Gave it to Simon to taste and unfortunately he got a hit of the white wine vinegar, which is really powerful. So I had to really make sure I'd mixed it up thoroughly again, which I will do. I've got a fork at the minute. Now, although I've got the onion relish in here, I love the fact that for McDonald's, when I have the special sauce, I can see little bits of pickle in there. And I haven't got that with the onion relish. I have got little bits of onion, which is lovely. So all I'm going to do, with the wrong knife, she says, picking up the serrated knife. Yesterday I cut up a couple of cornichons, which are like tiny little baby gherkins. And like I said, they're normally for cocktails and stuff. When I have them with cocktails, I actually just eat them as they are. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to get the whole pickle because we're going to need some slices of this for the actual burger when it's done. But you need about half a pickle, should we say? And I just try to slice it as small as I can. It is really difficult with gloves on. Should have done this beforehand. But yeah, so slice it as small as I can and then chop it into tiny little pieces and put that in. Yesterday, my chopping was a lot better because I didn't have these silly gloves on. So these are a lot finer. And I just know I'm going to cut my gloves and then I'm going to go and do this meat and suddenly just feel like, as the meat goes. I've done it. I've already cut them. Thankfully, I do have a spare pair of gloves. Hurrah! Right, so that's that bit in. I'm going to mix this in. Now, I'm going to use the fork for this. I'm not quite sure why Simon has a fork on the table for me, but it was very handy because I think I will mix this up a little bit more thoroughly with a fork. So there we have it. That is the... Oh my God, that's so good. So that's the sauce that I made yesterday. Oh, I've got a little bit of salt. Oh, there's something missing. That's not working, is it? Disaster! But Simon to the rescue with a little bit of table salt on this. So a pinch of salt in there. And that's all. That's it. That's done. Now, as I said, you're supposed to leave this for 24 hours. I do have a sauce I made earlier. And at the end of this video, God, I've got salt everywhere now. Bit of luck. At the end of this video, I will taste test both of them and tell you whether it makes any difference having waited 24 hours in the fridge or just making it straight up. Because yesterday when I made it, I tasted it and it was like, oh my God, that's it. I thought, well, it could change in 24 hours. It could be something different. Not too different, admittedly. So I will come back to that, but that is the finished special sauce mixture. I'm now going to change my gloves and come back because these definitely have a hole in. Be right back. Oh, this is crazy. Don't put a hole in it, don't put a hole in it. This is so... Oh, hello. I'm going to get there. What year is this? Right, I'm back. Absolutely exhausted. That is harder than it is to put these things on a second time. But I'm back, I'm here. Just gather myself. Right, so, okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing these burgers. Now, on the recipes, they don't put any butter in because they use a griddle. And although I don't have a griddle, a saucepan is just good enough for the job. They have to be thin burgers anyway, so they cook pretty quickly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my trusty burger maker. But because when I ordered the American burger buns, I don't know what it is. American burgers are like, you know, roll size. But I keep ordering American burger buns and they come in these huge baps. You could put a whole cow in them. So I'm going to be making larger burgers than normal today. So it's going to be like, what do they call them? Grand Big Mac, I think it is. I don't know. Huge ones. Basically, you only need one and then you'll be full for the rest of the day, which is fine. But I will be using my burger press to make them, and then I'm going to flatten them out so they're like really huge patties because it is a really huge bun. And of course they shrink when they're cooking. So it is just a case of, now normally when I've done, if you've seen my other burger recipe, link to it just appearing there, that's my flavoured burger recipe. And that has all kinds of loveliness in it to make really lovely flavoured burgers, just to make something different, you know, on the barbecue rather than just the plain stuff. But this is just literally meat. Just meat. So it's meat, salt and pepper, which is what the people at the Golden Arches, the Golden Arches even, people at the Golden Arches do, just salt and pepper. So we're going to be purists and keep it like that. This is actually a 1/4 pounder maker. And we're not going to be doing 1/4 pounders because that's just too big. But because I wanted to shrink to about this size, I have to make it a bit thicker than normal. And then press it out. So this is really thick, really big. Oops, she says, smashing everything. And then what I'm going to do is just press it out and flatten it a bit. It's not going to be the most perfect shape. It's homemade. But as I always say, it's the flavour that counts. have my great taste stars because of the taste of my cake. Oh, that does look nice. My cake does look nice. There we go. It's all about the flavour. That's quite round anyway. You see that? Stuck on the thing. Now, I've put this on the baking tray because I'm going to make them here and then I'm going to transfer them to the pan. Then once they're cooked, I'm going to transfer them to a plate just to sit there and pile them up. And then what I'm going to do is I will construct the burgers, which will take like, you know, minutes, if that, just to do one and be like, hey, there we go. Then I'm also going to taste the sauces at the end and say to you, okay, this is exactly, or this is whatever. Anyway, I'll tell you whether you need to do it for 24 hours or not. So that's exciting, isn't it? Something to wait for. As I told you, it's lockdown. You've got to take your excitement where you can. So that's one done. One huge flat burger. But it is flat. And hopefully, knowing my lot, they're not going to shrink, are they? And I'm going to have these great big fat burgers that I'm going to have to actually cut down to fit in. Just so me. Hi, welcome back. I've made all the burgers. Now what I'm going to do is fry them in a frying pan. You're supposed to use a griddle pan, which I don't have. So I'm just going to use my heavy base frying pan on my induction hob. Again, you don't have to put any oil on it. This isn't very non-stick, unfortunately. So I'm going to put I've got a bit of tissue here that's got a little bit of oil on the bottom, which I've been rubbing on the base of the pan, just so I literally brush it with oil so it just doesn't stick. These cook very, very quickly and they're reduced down to the size I need for the very large bap. So if you're getting these large burger buns, then this is going to be absolutely ideal. In a Big Mac, you normally have one burger at the top and one burger at the bottom with a slice of bread in the middle for both the buns. And the bottom burger has cheese melted on. So when you've put it into the pan and you're just did the last flip and you're waiting for that final side to just cook through, then pop your square of cheese on so it melts on that last bit. I've done a couple. I will do one with cheese on to show you and one without. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pile them up on my plate and get them ready. And then at the end, I shall build a burger and do it with the chopped onion and the lettuce and the special sauce. So let's get started. First thing first, I've got one free glove and one glove that had meat on, just so I can pick these up and put them in the pan. Now, the reason I showed you with the foil will become evident. I'm just going to do salt. A decent amount of salt on these. This is rock salt, which isn't as salty as table salt, I find. So if you're using table salt, you'll want to use a little bit less. And some pepper. Pop that on. Now, I've already wiped this with a little bit of oil. So let's turn this on. This heats up super duper quick. There we go. Let's get that to 120. And then with the hand with the glove on, because obviously this is dealing with raw meat, so I'm touching nothing but raw meat with this one. Because I put these on little individual foil parcels, they're quite easy to pop on. I'm just going to wait for this to get out. It heats up so fast, this induction hob. I love it. It's incredible. I think that's hot enough. There we go. So I've just got that in there. And that is sizzling away nicely. Little stray piece of beef there. Tuck that in. While it's on this side, because obviously I've put it onto the salt and pepper side, I'll salt and pepper the other side. There we go. Just a little bit of seasoning on that. And then it's just like a barbecue. So you keep turning it, even though it's really, really flat, so it'll cook really, really quickly. It takes minutes, if that. I mean, you can obviously do these on a grill in the oven, so you can do them all at once. You could do them on the barbecue, but again, I would suggest you get some sort of foil down, because they're really thin burgers. Before they're cooked, they can fall apart really easily. Once they're cooked, there's a little bit more integrity, but they're still quite, I mean, if you've ever taken a McDonald's burger out and held it just on the edge, it will just break and fall because they're quite thin. Because you've got two of them in the bun, it's exceptionally filling and really, you know, full of meaty. But just because they're thin, they will fall down in between the barbecue. So I would suggest you cover your barbecue with foil, poke some holes in so the air can get through. Otherwise, your barbecue coals will go out really quickly. And make sure you've put some oil on at first, because it will stick until it's ready. Barbecues, you can't change the temperature on. So if it is a little too high, it'll stick. Burn first. With this, obviously, I can move the temperature up and down, so I know it's not going to be too bad. And I said with the oil, just a tiny bit of oil to stop it sticking. As you can see, that is just going so nicely. Smells incredible, it looks fantastic, and it's just cooking up a treat. It's absolutely great. So what I'll probably do is cook this through a bit more on this side, and then flip it over again just to make sure it's cooked through. And then if this was the one for the cheese, I'll put the cheese on then, and while it's cooking on the underside, again, just make sure the cheese melts in, because that's what you want on it, to get the cheese connection. It's a weird thing, isn't it? Hello, do you have cheese connection? Yes. Not sort of thing you come across every day, but anyway, so yeah, get the cheese connection. TM, Berkshire Housewife. You know, I haven't eaten today, so I'm going to be talking a lot of nonsense. There'll be a lot of edits with this. I probably might keep cheese connection in there. You know, just be different and do a competition and say, what weird thing do I say in the video? So I can see that that is really starting to cook. All the juices are starting to flow through this side. And it's getting nicely browned, and I will give it one more turn over, because you need the heat to soak through, and then you flip it over so the heat goes through, so it cooks gently. If you leave it too long on one side, I try to go brown on that side and then flip it over, it could probably burn. As I said, like a barbecue, it needs to be gently heated the right way, looked after. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Right, so just to show you, for a normal burger, because obviously the Big Mac has one burger at the bottom with cheese and then one at the top without. That has the special sauce, that one. So the one with cheese, I'm going to show you with this. If this was for the one without, then once this is ready, you take it out, pop it on a side plate, jobs are good. But for the one with cheese, this is what you'll do. You'll just pop your cheese on. Now it's sizzling away for the second side. This side is nicely browned. So now I'm just going to keep this cooking, and the heat of the pan and the burger is going to melt the cheese. Just give that cheese connection I keep going on about. And so that the cheese actually melts into the burger, which is just how you want it. So it becomes a perfect marriage of burger and cheese. That's one of the phrases I never thought I'd say. So this looks like it's doing really, really well. It doesn't really need long. As I said, it takes hardly any time at all to cook. And I think this is, because I don't want it to burn. Oh, it's browned beautifully. So there we go. That's pretty much enough. I'm going to pop that. There's a plate I've got over here for cheeseburgers. It's just out of shot. But that's where I'm putting my cheese ones, and then I'm going to put my normal ones on here. So I'm going to carry on with these ones. And what I'm going to do is I'll come back when I've done them all and I'm ready to build a burger. And we shall take it to the next level. And then we get to the special sauce. Woohoo! So, see you in a bit. Hello, my lovelies. So, I've finished all the burgers. I've got all the fillings. I'm going to just build one as quickly as possible, because we're supposed to be eating this for dinner and I don't want them to get cold. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the special sauces. This is the one from last night, or yesterday, and this is the one from today. And I am going to do a taste test to tell you which one is okay, which one is not. By the way, I've got a brand new glove on. This hasn't had any meat on it. There is a little hole in the top, but that's fine, because I'll be touching the food here and it's all completely covered. So, let me just taste. This is from yesterday, so this has been in the fridge. And this has been sort of just steeping. That is bang on. That is absolutely McDonald's ready, bang on. This one. Nearly there. Yes, okay, I'm afraid the 24 hours really makes a difference. But that said, if you don't want to wait 24 hours, it still tastes pretty excellent. But 24 hours later, you would not be able to tell the difference between McDonald's and this. I'm sorry, there's no way. It's fantastic. So, let me build a burger. So there is an order, so I'm going to try and do it in the order that it says. So first things first, special sauce. So a couple of healthy dollops of that, because I need to spread it all around that burger. Then some finely chopped onion that Simon has chopped as finely as he possibly can. Not too many, because I don't want the flavour to just overwhelm everything, as this is fresh onion. The McDonald's onion seems a lot milder. Then some shredded lettuce, which you have some iceberg. I actually love this stuff. If anybody has it left in their cartons, I always go, can I have your lettuce? But in order to not really make this go too overboard and make it look too daft, I'm going to put just enough in, because as I'm at home, I can take as much lettuce as I want later. Then a couple of pickles. Now, again, this is so flexible. You don't have to put these in if you don't want to. And then, oh, a burger. Oh, this is nice and hot still. Oh, I say, that looks fancy. There's a little bit of extra cheese on this because the person who's going to get this one loves a bit of cheese. And then we have the middle section, which is basically just another end. Just makes life easier. So we put that on. And then from what I can remember, it is burger, onions. I hope I got this right. Oops. A bit of onion skin in there. Don't need that. Burger, onions. I mean, again, you can play around with this as much as you want. A couple of pickles. I know there are pickles in again. I'm only going to put a couple in here because don't be funny. Some lettuce, which is really hard to pile on. I don't know how they do it at McDonald's. I must admit, I don't think they're as tall as these. And of course, you know, they've got their buns and they're doing it at quite a rate. And I'm just sitting here, a complete novice, piling things on like it's Jenga. Right, and then get our sauce and our sesame seed bun. And we put the sesame seeds falling off as I speak. Put some more special sauce on the top, not on your finger, as I've just done. And there we have an absolutely incredible Big Mac, homemade style. I'm very proud of that. I am very, very pleased with that monster of a burger. I'm going to go do the rest, and I'm going to write up the recipe for you all. Put those back on the top. And put all the exact ingredients and the exact amounts so you don't have to trial and error and test it. And, you know, now we have found out that 24 hours and it is exactly like the McDonald's one. This is incredible. I'm so excited because none of the ones online I've tried are anything like it. I mean, they're a bit like it, but they're a bit kind of like Thousand Island dressing. And it's not that. This is it. This is it. I'm so proud. So, as I said, taste is very important to me. So this is made pretty much the way that they'd make it, but it is home style, so the burgers are a bit bigger and everything's a bit bigger and it's a bit more Texan, but it's going to be lovely and it's going to be filling, and I'm just so proud of it, to be honest, which normally I do get a bit kind of nervous about things, but I'm really pleased with that. It came out really well. If you make it, please, please, please do let me know. If you take any photos, I would love to see them. Thank you once again for joining me. It has been such a joy doing this with your company. I really appreciate you watching my videos. It means so much to me, and I really hope you get a lot of fun out of watching them too, and that you get a lot of fun out of making the recipes, because I certainly get a lot of fun out of doing this for you. Do take care of yourselves, and I look forward to seeing you for another video very soon. Take care. Bye.